Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 with one of the most underrated Zerg players out there in the blue, the underling. It's SHIN. In a rare cross-continental showdown against the Polish Protoss in the red, it's Gerald. And whether it's SHIN's low-tech timings or Gerald's high-tech compositions, or you're just happy that there are no Terrans here today, either way, it'd be awesome if you could start things off by smashing that like button. And maybe even subscribing. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,451 likes on this video on this cast. I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Especially if you're an enthusiast of either Dark Templar or Glaive to Depths. As Gerald breaking from incredibly regular tradition and not building a Stargate early on. Which is kind of unfortunate, because 2 Zerglings are slipping into the base already. 2 Zerglings, and the fact that he's going to get in and see there is no Stargate. He'll see the Twilight. There's actually nothing else to see right now, as Gerald didn't start any other buildings or upgrades. Probe. Citizen's Arrest takes down the Zergling. But a Dark Shrine. A Shrine to Dark on the way. Always a bold move to go with a shrine to one of the highest ranked players by Dark. Zerglings, Adept shading out. Did he not? Oh, moderately sized mistake from Gerald. As the Adepts just shade directly into the Zerglings and die, which is not the ideal use of Adepts in the early game, believe it or not. Another Adept going to do its best impression of actually having the ability to wall off. Pylon behind, and the Adept just barely is able to shade behind the lines just in time. And it would have been quite devastating if he loses that Adept too early, as even if Warp Gate finishes now, he's already lost so much time. Oh, now he's walled into his own base, which isn't the end of the world, considering you have a gold base to work with at the back. But the Dark Shrine is 3/4 of the way done. Warp Prism is most of the way across. SHIN will see the Prism, which immediate Spore Crawlers, realizing that especially since he killed those early Adepts and forced the wall off, this is almost certainly Dark Templar. The Queen ladies! Never mind, but just stay on your guard. All right, Brenda. You don't have to be annoying about it. Sorry. 2 Dark Templar, but Gerald giving SHIN plenty of respect. That might actually end up costing him any sort of timing with these early... Ooh. The Warp Prism taking a lot of damage as well. The Queen is taken out. Tries an Archon. Recalls... Well, that's unfortunate. Recall just takes a little bit too long. And even though Emerging Archon can be recalled, it just doesn't end up working out. So, a series of unfortunate events so far. Yep, that Spore Crawler still exists. Not exactly sure what he expected to accomplish there, but... So, a distant second objective for the early DT drop. What is my purpose? You kill creep tumors. Oh my Tassadar. It's a little sad that Dark Templar don't even one-shot creep tumors. Which Dark Templar is cooler? The Scythe or the single blade like Zeratul style? I think I used to like the Scythe ones more, but now I like the blade ones more. Either way, I just feel kind of edgy when I talk about it. Disruptors on the double Ds of destruction being rushed out. Literally only DTs and Dark Templar. That's the entire army. He also has 1 Adept left over from cosplaying a wall off. Gerald with the most Protoss possible army composition. SHIN begrudgingly admitting this game might go more than a few more minutes. So getting some more drones, some more upgrades. He's got Hydra range and +1 ranged attack on the way. Roach speed and production. So far, winding up for a solid mid-game push. A brute force attack, which, well, Disruptors could be a hard counter here. But Disruptors could also be a hard counter to your own units. They're quite a double-edged grenade kind of Well, that's just like a regular grenade, but still. They're a dangerous creature, especially to the Protoss as well. And Gerald really working that warp prism, dragging a probe out of the 3rd onto the 4th base, minimizing the risk. SHIN has a tendency to get relentlessly aggressive. Not necessarily because it's the best strategy, but because he can. Or die trying. And we'll have to see which one it is. A lot of units headed across the map. Gerald really doesn't have that much going for him. He's got a couple Raptors, a couple Archons. Blink is completed for the Stalkers, but he doesn't even have any upgrades for him. Now SHIN is working off of stock Hydras and Roaches as well. He doesn't even have Hydra speed, which is going to be quite uncomfortable. Well, the Zerglings just kind of run in. The Hydras are poking at the Nexus to the south side. Disruptors coming up, they're in the Prism, have to pull back. And the Zerglings are now in the main base as well. Take out 7 probes so far. The Hydras continuing to work on the Nexus. The probe's on the run. Zealot's forced to be warped in. He does not have charge. In fact, he hasn't even started it. And very unlucky Stalker is taken down by a handful of Zerglings in the main. Meanwhile, for the B plot, Hydras, double barrel Raptor shot comes up a little short, kills a couple Hydras, but the Hydras are just going to kill the Nexus over the top of the mineral wall. Meanwhile, the shield battery overcharge will hold the, well, now 3rd base. And behind it, SHIN, realizing, well, Disruptors are still dangerous. I got the damage done, opening up the map, but realizing he may need a little bit higher tech in order to deal with this deadly Protoss composition. Gerald, again, just kind of bottled up. Hasn't really been able... In fact, the closest he got to attacking was, like, 2 Dark Templar in the main base. Since then, it's been all SHIN all the time. He's throwing all his units all over the place. No Lurker Den on the way. He got a Baneling Nest. No Spire, no Lurker Den. No intent on anything but more Lings and Lisks. And whatever Roaches he has left over. In fact, Tunneling Claws is on the way, as he tries a new dimension underneath the Protoss. Pops an Observer. Disruptor shot is a pretty hard counter to Changelings, but most things are. Burrow is completing. Gerald is... His best chance is building up as close to 200 supply as possible and just winning with a huge counterattack after defending cost-effectively. And there is almost no ground-based Protoss composition more cost-effective than this. He's going for Storm. He's got half a dozen Raptors. He's continuing to upgrade on the ground. He's got Archons to backstop as well. And moving out onto the open field where you can be surrounded is a massive risk. But sitting back behind your increasingly hardened wall is a bit less so. The Zerglings, easily distracted. Meanwhile, another attempt at a bit... Wait. The Roaches... Some Zealots at the back. Reinforcements will deal with it. The Roaches, the cannon sounding the alarm. Hey, guys! Hello? Anyone? Is this a tower defense map? What is he... Couldn't he just go... Does that High Templar wall? I mean, the Templar Arc... No, watch out! How many times? No desk pops! Hey, you gotta be very careful with those disruptors at home. Roaches take the most dramatic possible path to attacking the back base they probably could have just walked up to. But so far, living up to their name. 52 Banelings, as SHIN drained the entirety of his gas bank into Banelings. No adrenal glands, of course, as Zerglings. You want to be fair. And adrenal glands, we all know, is the strongest upgrade for Zerglings, so just being nice about it. Now this disruptor shot, and just, you're not going through there. Disruptor knocks out dozens of Banelings. Wow, so exciting. Let's see it again. Jimmy. Sorry. Still some Roaches at the back. 2 Stargates on the way. He didn't have a Stargate to start. Trying to come through. Oh my. The storms are excruciating. And melting the entirety of the Zerglings and Banelings, thinning out the rest. The Vipers weren't nearly enough. Another Ruptor shot. Just half a dozen Hydras annihilated. I think we're going to have to try a different angle. And Shin's like, you meant 30 more Banelings, right? We'll go with that. Gerald with a top-tier defense. So far, wow. 10,000 to 5,000 resources lost, including double the gas for Shin. And if he keeps sending everything into Banelings like this, that's not going to change anytime soon. Gerald reaching to the skies. Fleet Beacon is on the way as he angles towards the Golden Armada. Banelings come in from the north side. The flank from the south a bit late, and the storms just evaporate the northern counterattack. A single I was sad. Fleet Beacon on the way, and Gerald has successfully survived the constant Zerg assaults. He's got the army now. Still a very hard army to attack directly into the Zerg. Disruptors seem all well and good until they're coming in from 360 degrees. More probes are gonna die. Zerglings on top of the Nexus. Now, if only there was an upgrade that made him attack 40% faster, he might actually kill it. That sounds like a BOP. Hydra's running around again. There, finally! As Shin consults his Prima strategy guide, moments in between spamming all his keys. Wow, Gerald really embracing the true Protoss mindset there. We've got the Lurker Den on the way. Chitin is plating for Ultras, which I think the only unit that could somehow be less effective than Banelings in this scenario is Ultras. Trying to come through these choke points into one of the most anti-Ultra armies that exists. He's got Templar, Immortals, and Disruptors. Let alone a decent chunk of Blinkstalkers. The Roaches waited for their moment. They've been here for like 5 minutes. But 2 seconds before the carrier's completed, they're able to get the pylons and actually kill a couple Templar as well. So the Roach Special Forces are able to undermine the strategy once again, and Gerald forced back. Well, forced back on one side. He's chasing down to the north. Banelings roll through and gut the static defense. There's no detection. And I think the Dark Templar, like they do oftentimes in the campaign, just kind of pop up and save the day. Well, a beefy Protoss army throws out the storms. Oh yeah, just throw a disruptor shot in there. They weren't dead enough already. 17 drones dead. 82 Zerglings on the way, though that number reduced somewhat as the disruptors obliterate the larva at the outlying gold base. 1 of 2. Huge counterattack. Probes are on the run. Shin will actually just let them go. Another Nexus being targeted by the Zerglings. Will this finally be the inspiration? No. Lurker Speed Burrow. Adaptive Talents. The Nexus being walled off to the north side. Whenever it's at this level of HP, I always feel like it might just be better to like kill it and then rebuild it. Obviously, you don't want to lose the income. It's not that much HP, but it's so dicey. Then again, it could also become a bit of a bait against the Zerg, who are so focused on killing it. It's only 400 minerals for a Nexus, compared to however many thousand Shin has spent on... Oh my god. Double the resources. But he's been mining from almost double the bases. That can't last forever. He's only had 71 22 more Banes. Sure, why not? With a side of Banes. 10 Lurkers on the way. Shin has finally admitted that maybe the big game Zerg army on the ground is just... Did he just kill his own Stalker to build observers? Well, at this point, which one is more likely to win the game for you? One Stalker? Or, well, not having detection will certainly lose the game for you. Goes to clear the creep. Like, using a Ferrari to move your couch kind of situation. And also, much like that scenario, doesn't really work. But it looked very dramatic. The minerals are mined out, so the Zerglings just come in and then decide, you know what, actually, never mind. Though about half of them dead before they could escape from the cannons and the probes. 11 corruptors on the way. He's clearly aware of the carriers now. Gerald has survived, and look at the bank. 2,500 apiece for Gerald. SHIN at only 800 gas. Archons fighting Ravagers. Banelings rolling in 2 different angles. Storm wades right through it, but not quite finishing off the... Oh, that was stressful. A couple dozen probes waiting with bated metaphorical breath in a prison of their own design, because there's no escaping. You're walled in by your own gateways. Wave of changelings coming across. And SHIN's bank is almost non-existent. Gerald, I think, unlikely to expect that SHIN is quite so poor. Carriers are a rich man's unit, and Gerald has to be a little careful, as right now he's maybe upper middle class when it comes to the Protoss. You put too much into the carriers, and you play with them for too long, and eventually the interceptor tax becomes incredibly costly. But, so far, he hasn't used them at all, so maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Storm is good, softens up some of the lurkers. There's another army to the north side. SHIN cutting through into the center base. Some of the reinforcements being cut off. Good shot! Knocks out! Oh baby, a triple. Gerald is giving up the center base in order to clear up some of the map and maybe collapse on this army overall. Overseers getting caught out. Lurkers closing into the north. There's no detection there with that army. It's just kind of being pushed out of the way. A couple Dark Templar may force a cancel or destroy one of these bases. Disruptors around the corner, gets one more lurker. There's still a dozen on the field. Actually, supply block, get over here! A couple carriers pulled in, shield battery overcharge, he just laughs at it. DTs kill one of the hatcheries. The army waited in, another couple lurkers incinerated. 11 overlords on the way. Which, well, he won't be supply blocked again. He actually lost so many overseers in the fight. 14 so far. He lost so many overseers, he was hard supply blocked at like 170. But Zealots headed towards the north. Now going back lurkers, very scary. Alright, the Zealots moving in. That was sad. SHIN making his Spire great again. The Zerglings on the Nexus. But don't... Are you kidding me? He's gonna get the Nexus anyways, but... That was it? That was the adrenal glands on the way of SHIN. Given more than half a second to stare at his Zerglings. Consults his Prima strategy guide and finally checks off that box. An upgrade that is so good, it seems like it is supposed to just be in the campaign. But 40%... Actually, I think it's weaker in the campaign. 40% Zergling attack speed. Now, Zerglings don't always get to attack, but when they do, it's incredibly noticeable. The Spine Crawler's holding it down, and the Lurker Spine's ripping him out. The Templar... Oh, that's awkward. 3 Templar with plenty of energy. Doesn't get a Storm off. Forces an Archon merge. Not ideal, but... Gerald has quite a death ball. A second Spire coming up for maxed out upgrades. Tempests have joined the composition. 9 Brood Lords on the way. SHIN again. Embracing feudalism. Infestors underneath. Broodlord, Infestor. is the choice. Another Nexus for Gerald. 33,000 resources lost for SHIN, including almost 4,000 more gas. Of course, he's mined significantly more, but Gerald has just kind of let SHIN make these incredibly, well, it's certainly not cost-effective attacks. And at no point has he really chewed into Gerald's composition. He's killed a Immortal or a Disruptor here or there. He's knocked out a few carriers. But the main Templar, Immortal, and now Tempest army is still very much intact. And no matter what you have as Zerg, this is a dangerous composition to deal with. 14 Broodlords helps. Does he have Neural Parasite? He has a laundry list of almost every upgrade Zerg owns. Except, as is customary with SHIN, possibly the most important one. Neural Parasite is a game-winning move in the right scenario. Of course, it's kind of unreliable. Fungal, Parasitic Bomb, those are overall better, but harder to find a strong opportunity with. Whereas, if they're out of position for just a couple seconds, a Neural can outright win the game. And I guess Fungal Viper can do that too, but that's kind of a whole setup. That is, unless he just walks right into it. The Fungal comes through half the ground army's caught. Parasitic Bomb, Disruptor thrown out there, but Parasitic Bomb, Fungal Wombo combo on top of the Tempest. The Storms, he's wading right through it. The Broodlords are raining down. There's no answer. The Tempests have been cut down. And the Stalkers are not remotely close to it. They're not even in the same zip code as enough to deal with these Broodlords. Gerald is long-distance mining from the rich Vespene gas. Why not? A Lurker drop is heading out because there's like a daily side quest to do a Lurker drop or something. I'm not entirely sure how effective that is going to be at this stage of the game. The Zealots made it into the main, but the Lurkers chased them to it. Lurker drop just imploded. The Broodlord's still holding on. Viper's regathering energy. SHIN starting to embrace this real late game composition. He hasn't lost a single Broodlord. Still 14 Broodlords on the field. A fearsome army to contend with as Protoss. Another Fungal. Not quite in position. Feedback across the bow. One Infestor with energy still. The cannon's actually distracting the Broodlords for long enough that he didn't get punished too hard in this fight. The Broodlings are chasing. Blinks away. Immortal's caught out. Bit of an awkward angle. There's the Oracle. Needs a Revelation to reliably hit those Broods. But the Broodlings just keep raining down. And what? Gerald gets a phone call mid-match. And we're back. We don't wait for anyone here. Mothership taken down. Possibly from his mother calling him on the phone. As that was certainly not the base he wanted to be building it at. The Nexus is now going to clear up some of the Lurkers. Broodlords working through the static defense. Feedback onto the Vipers. Knocks out one. Another. Still intact. The Broodlord still zoning out. The Tempest count growing pretty dramatically. He's at 6, which I believe is enough. Especially... Oh, he has +3 air. He can easily one-shot pretty much everything. Of course, there's more than one. The main issue. And that is assuming you're able to fire them all off at the same time. Unfortunately, one Tempest does not one-shot a full Broodlord. The Zerglings working their way through some of the Stargates. The main base is mostly undefended past that point. Just one cannon in the mineral line and the rest of the infrastructure. An Infestor is targeted, but the Broodlords over the top. Disruptor doesn't quite clip it. And the Tempest, you got one job. And right now they're slacking. There's a single Ultra on the way. Gerald still has money in the bank, but he's really focused on this fight. And just warping in another round of Stalkers is not going to be the answer. Gerald actually has the northern base, but the main is falling apart. He warps in Stalkers, but the pylon is obliterated by Banelings. Shin pulling back with his Broodlords, giving Gerald a little bit of a reprieve to clean up these Hydras and Lings. Might be able to save the Dark Shrine. Almost loses the Oracle. Broodlords raining down. 3 Ultralisks on the way. 2 Tempests as well. Gerald still has that army. Shin is down to 46 drones. He only has 850 gas. Home defense ultras. There's still 1 Zergling, finally cleaned up. Another one is burrowed. And we're going into a kind of a base trade. They've both been... Gerald is supply box, building 5 more pylons, but he's about to lose another Nexus. That certainly won't help. Is it time to recall? Does he recall? 13 more Banes on the way, because of course there are for him. Has he lost? He's lost just 1 Broodlord. The Lord of the Broods. And the Tempest will double that number and starting to chew through a few more. Those Infestors. The lack of Neuroparasite is quite glaring at this stage. A Dark Templar finished off the hatchery. I don't know what else. But he just got a great revelation onto those Infestors. So he'll be able to keep good track of it. Takes out another Brood. That Viper, tries to target the Viper. Is successful with the Stalkers. Loses 1 Tempest. But Gerald is just bleeding out. He's down to 3 Stargates. He lost his fleet beacon. He still has money. Shin is broke. He's building 4 more Broods. The Zealots pull back. No armor upgrades. He has +3 shields. So, against Zerg, a pretty reliable upgrade. That makes the Archons quite tanky as well. Shin has maxed out ground upgrades, now working on +2 Carapace. Already has +3 flyer attack. As we both, I would say go back to our corners, but it's kind of unclear what that means. So, at least back on our own sides. He just made Mass Oracle. I guess he... And now Void Race. The fleet beacon died a while ago, so now trying to fill in. And against the Corruptors and to an extent the Ultras, this can be a strong choice. But the Infestors with full energy disruptor shots pop a couple Infestors. The Fungals are good, but the Storms are incredible. Cataclysmic Storms. Feedbacks on the Infestors. That was the last of them. But how much anti-air is left as the Ultras continue trundling through? The Oracles could easily burn them out. But somehow that fight, both sides lost almost their entire ground armies. Is it really our job to patch these guys up? Okay, it's not my fault they waded right into this. You know, there's only 17 jobs for you, Susan. All right? And you're expected to do them all. And if you get nerfed, well, that's too bad, because you don't have, there's no one else. So stop complaining and start transfusing. Don't drink a Red Bull or something. Do they sponsor anyone? I think maybe Rainer. Sorry, I blacked out for. Gerald has, well, the economies keep dwindling. Now, they both still have income. The amount of it is precious low. Gerald actually doesn't have any gas income right now. Not that he couldn't fix that. Shin doesn't really have any gas. But that's a bit different. He's mining about 400 a minute. 5 Oracles. The Pentacles here. And actually, there's only Ultras with Chitinous Play. He uses Revelation. I don't know if I've ever seen that scenario. Burrowing to avoid the Oracles, but of course the Oracles have that Revelation built in. Now the Zerglings are just trying to burrow everywhere else, making life difficult. There are still Robos, one of which is powered. What a scrappy game. SHIN still unable to find that killing blow and is at severe risk of exhausting himself doing so. Whereas Gerald has been struggling with any semblance of counterattacks, but he has kept... Well, it's kind of like the Protoss Armada of Theseus here, where I don't know how many of these units are part of the armies from like 10 minutes ago, but the composition has mostly remained the same, and strong enough to repel the vast majority of what SHIN's throwing at him. It is now, well, the units lost has evened up dramatically, though losing most of your main, your probes, and your pylons will do that. Still much more gas efficient from Gerald, of course. But now, you know, just taking a nice changeling drop. Everyone does it mid-game. Observer just hanging out. There's literally no resources left here. Looks so barren. There's just nothing. There's nothing left. There's still resources on the map, just the incomes are so low. Few void rays, couple dozen zerglings. How many infestors? Just one. 2 vipers. King can barely afford anything else. And then he's SHIN out of luck. Just a wave of brood lords raining down. They got the +3 melee and carapace on the ground, as well as +3/2 flyer. So about as strong as brood lords can ever get. The brood lord initial attack, where it whips the broodlings down, is buffed by the flyer attack, but the broodlings on the ground, for their incredibly short but angry lives, are affected by melee and carapace upgrades. What is that? Recalls to the main. The zealots whooped in. He keeps trying to defend. Beautiful storms. The zealots hold the door. The Templar ward away. And again, SHIN loses a chunk of his army. But, oh my god, there's still 2,000 gas. Oh, SHIN. What a... This is huge. Another 1,800 gas and a rich Vespine geyser at this time. This is exactly the pipeline he needed in order to get back into it. It feels like SHIN was running out of options and ideas, and money in general. But with that extra 1,800 gas at this stage, that is enough to inspire a bit more aggressive intentions against an army that can't really deal too much with it. God, the Brood Lords are raining down. The Corruptors struggle. Well, not struggling. The Oracle's struggling. There's not much for them to do. What are you going to stasis? The Broodlings? The Ultras and Lings finally make it into the main. I don't think Gerald can come back to defend. Oracle slapping down Revelation. Yep, those are still Corruptors, but having the extra range with the Tempest is so important. The Vipers, and now some more Infestors underneath. That gas should have been Gerald's. He minded a little bit with long-distance mining, but Fungals. But the Broodlords are a bit late in following it up. Oh no, another Templar with so much energy. SHIN might be able to take out one of Gerald's last Nexi. Still finding every opportunity for a cost-effective fight. I think this is actually a wall, as Zealots hold the door. Shield battery overcharge. Oh, he doesn't have it. Wow. It's about as good as it ever gets. He finally goes through the Templar Archives, which is definitely worth killing. As SHIN finally working on the Protoss base from the inside out. Gerald is running out of production facilities. He's running out of supply, money in general. SHIN is now most of the way through mining that rich Vespine gas. And Neural, really? Now? You're sitting here with 700 APM and you didn't notice Neural Parasite till this moment? SHIN, I really don't know. With Adrenal Glands, Neural Parasite, these upgrades that can literally just win the game. Neural Parasite even more than Adrenal Glands. And it took another 20 minutes of Infestors. I mean, using spellcasters is a big step, alright? It's very hard already. Let's not get crazy. How many corruptors? 30 corruptors. Oh my. That Viper gets caught, but he yanks it a couple more. The Void Ray is going to be very helpful against the Corruptor composition, but incredibly vulnerable to the Wombo combo in the skies. The Fungal and the Parasitic Bomb combo. The Fungal Bomb. Was Tempest. Gerald just hoping he can outlast him. I really think that Rich Vespine. That is exactly what Shin needed. He's now mined 7,000 more gas. His army is worth 8,000 minerals and 8,400 gas. He's not even maxed. No, he's only at 33 drones. Not that there's much left to mine from. Another attempt at a mothership from Gerald. Active cloaking at the right time, or more likely time warp, could change the game. Oh, the Corruptor's looking for an opportunity to just melt through. Caustic Spray. Though if he overstays his welcome, yeah, he's trying to drag things back. Broodlord's headed north. Mothership on the way still. Gerald has rebuilt something of an economy, though he's running out of... There's not that many mineral patches left. We got 700 over here. Yeah, we're at the point where you start counting the patches. This base, you can't lose it. He lost his Templar archives. He lost his Twilight Council. The tech tree is almost entirely reset. Shield battery overcharge. And now the Nexus itself, it's holding, but not quite enough. There's just too many Broodlords. And Gerald, it feels like a slow, not even particularly slow, but a slide into defeat, as opposed to a dramatic explosion. He's running out of options, running out of real estate, running out of minerals. The mothership is done. He's building a couple more Tempests, but I think Shin... Well, with 4 more Broodlords on the way. The air army is 9 Tempest, 5 Void Rays, and also, I guess, technically, the mothership. Building a couple more Tempests. He's holding the door with the Immortals and the Zealots. Broodlords. Infestors, oh my. Neural and feedback! Oh, he kills 2! High Templar, one of the only units that can be killed by feedback. I guess Infestors have full energy as well, but he uses the Templar to kill some of the other Templar. The mothership yanked it in one shot, and it's a disaster. Oh no. Shin sweeps the leg. Gerald held on. But finally, it slips. A devastating game. Shin throwing so much at him, but just barely able to win the war of attrition. A painful experience, but Shin with enough experience to survive that. How do we follow that one up? Game 2. A bit of a painful and somewhat anticlimactic ending. But it got really economically dicey there. If Shin hadn't gotten that Rich Vespine, if he hadn't been able to take out some of those outlying bases when he did, he runs out of money, possibly before he can ever really capitalize on the Broodlords. He's playing that very fine line between good investment and financial ruin. Probe gonna flirt with the minerals some. Decides to take some home with him. A little rude. Stargate on the way. Skipping to the point this time around. I think the Dark Templar rush had potential. It just... a few little details went sideways to start. And that made it so Gerald was bottled up for pretty much the rest of the game, unfortunately. Adept shades across. Zerglings... well, second adept should be in the wall. Unless he makes a significant mistake and sends it... Uh-oh. Well, curse your sudden but inevitable 4 Zergling counterattack. Oh, this is not ideal. SHIN always wanted to look for these early Zerg rush opportunities. And the probes are on the wrong side of the wall. He might even get away with... oh yeah, single probe lost, but not mining for that long. He didn't get any damage done with the probes, the adepts on the other side. So, adding up to a pretty mediocre position for the Polish Protoss. And, yes, that's where the gateway needs to go. That third base ain't gonna happen. SHIN dipped into his potential drone count. No cancel! Oh no. That's a pretty big disaster. Yes, the adepts will get damaged, but 300 minerals down the drain. Gerald just slow on the draw. 5 drones plus the fact that SHIN made all those Zerglings certainly does a lot to even the score, and that's why he was looking the other way. But losing that third with no cancel is a big blow. Now this ain't gonna happen. Zerglings pull back. Adept. Tucks itself in. And now shield batter. Behind it, Twilight and Forge. Standard fare. Oh, comes back around. Oh no. Oracle lights up again. He's doing a great job of draining the Oracle energy so it can't be annoying on the other side. Keeping that Oracle energy low is a big part of having a much more comfortable early mid-game. If they're forced to use all the energy on defense, well, they're not poking at your drones. They're not laying down stasis. They can barely even slap a revelation on things. Overlord taken down. Oracle's gonna try something, but the queens are in position. And not even gonna bother the obligatory, like, 2 drone kills. Already got his damage done earlier. Zerglings running out. Not really realizing the Protoss army is out there. This is actually quite a smart timing. As Gerald realizing there's a 4th base. The queens can't really be involved in this. And the oracles will protect against the Zerglings. Some of them are coming down the ramp. But he might even be able to get a cancel on the 4th. Unlikely. Oracles light up, but way more queens! Yeah, you didn't expect the other 4, did ya? Alright, simmer down, Patricia. I know you're new here, but This is like every game. We just have to sit there and deal with the oracles. It's not that big. But I'm excited. I'm not here to take that away from you. So. The Stalkers. Blink not quite done yet, so not able to chase down the Zerglings. Hydra was dead. Completed Groovy Spines on the way. And a Spore Crawler is making its way downtown, scuttling fast, and hoping to kill oracles, or at least provide detection, while minimizing mining time losses. Storm on the way. Gerald, again with a pretty bare-bones army. Very reliant on zoning out the Zerg as long as possible, as opposed to fighting them heads up. Storm, Robo. First Robo, right? Yeah. Infestation pick quite quickly for SHIN. Especially for SHIN. Can go straight up towards Hive, or maybe Swarm House in this scenario. 13 roaches on the way. He's just going to try to kill him. He has 80 drones. He has 4 hatcheries. His upgrades coming together. No reason not to take a swing at it, as there is a very real opportunity to attack before Protoss is able to consolidate their tech on a 4th base. Once they got all those gases up and running, the robotics facility working, the army composition comes together pretty quickly. But it's not there yet. There's one stasis. Catches a few of the Zerglings. Psy Storm a few seconds out. The Templar gathering energy. Oracles heading back home. Well, actually hanging out. Never mind, I take it back. Shield battery overcharge holding the line. Storms. Forced. Ooh, might lose a couple more here. The Templar barely survived. Shield battery overcharge doing a great job of helping out. But there's so many more Zerg on the way. The Hydras. Corrosive Balls raining down. Templar. Plenty of energy. And the Protoss army's thinning out. There's no more storms. The 4th Nexus will fall. Roach Hydra Zergling. Archon goes down. And with no more splash damage, the tide of Zerg is going to come in, and there's nothing to wash it away. Just a straight up macro hammer. SHIN puts it all together and batters down the door and takes the series 2-0, which brings us directly to our bonus game. I promised this, if you remember, not too long ago, another Zerg versus Protoss, Estrella versus Dark, where we didn't have that 3rd game. Well, without further ado, our bonus game is the game we missed. So really kind of a catch-up game, but Estrella versus Dark on Ghost River. SHIN with a dominant performance, Gerald holding his own, especially considering his much more stately Protoss style, but doesn't end up hanging with him in game 2. SHIN is just such a good macro Zerg. He's getting better and better. It's really cool to see players when they're very obviously practicing hard. I think SHIN is one of those players. He's always been, well, not always, formerly known as Ragnarok, by the way, which I personally thought was a way cooler name, but his name is actually SHIN, so he's going with that. But I digress. Not my favorite build. Then again, if you're a Korean StarCraft 2 player and your name isn't 4 letters long, are you even trying to win? Think about it. Maru, Beyond, Hero, Cure, Dark, Knife. No. Zest. Stat. Proven to be OP. Where was I? Oh, yes, Estrella. Well, technically, in this series, it's 1-1. This is the game 3 we didn't get. I was talking about SHIN and his improvement. He has actually, apparently, in the last week, if you're watching this the day of, like and subscribe, and not in a year when I have 5 million subscribers, SHIN has now cracked the top 10 overall as the 4th ranked Zerg in the world behind Cyril, Dark, and Reyna. So, but for, I don't know if it's the first time in his career, but the first time it really feels like he might be staying there in the top 10 players in the world. But with that said, we have Dark in front of us now. Void Ray first. A Void Ray. I think it's making a comeback. Deny the early Overlord scouts. Especially with the Spore Crawler buff, if it goes through, there's going to be less real reason to rush an Oracle, as it's going to be nearly impossible to get even those couple drones of damage. Now, Queens will cost more. We're all assuming that these kind of changes are going to go through, and I think it's likely those particular ones will. What is that? A fleet beacon? Is he doing a Tempest Rush? I guess it's one of those maps where you might be able to, kind of like a Liberator, just siege up the edge of the natural and potentially kill a uncomfortable amount of drones. There are 7 roaches on the way. Dark just doing a roach-ling timing. But the Void Ray should be able to spot it. There's no drones at this base. I think it'll become very apparent very soon. Yeah, shield battery on the way. The Queen's taking the soul stroll across the map. Estrella, more batteries. He knows. He knows. I don't think there will be an opportunity for that Tempest Rush. The Queens. The Adepts trying to hold the door. But they make a poor substitute for a pilot. Shield battery overcharge just a little late. The Void Ray, the Queen's finally working on it. But forced to pull back. 2 Void Rays at a time. The Adepts. Second shield battery on the way. Shield battery overcharge is on cooldown, but he used it so early. It might be up again momentarily. The Queen. We've arrived! We're just us two? This seems problematic. Estrella holding the door. The Gateway is doing a great job of funneling the Zerglings. The Queens aren't going to be enough. 2 Queens do not beat 2 Void Rays. With no Corrosive Bile. And the Corrosive Biles are hitting the Adepts, but a 3rd Void Ray comes out. The Zerglings get in. Battery overcharge still 15 seconds out. Dodges away. Another couple Queens coming up and just targeting down the Ravagers. And he types it out. GG from Dark. And Estrella's rush to the skies helps him defend on the ground. A victory for the American Protoss, and that's how he sealed the deal against the final boss from that series just a few days ago. So congratulations to SHIN, and on the Protoss side of things, Estrella holding off Dark. But hopefully you enjoyed kind of an odd set of games today. I felt myself zoning out. It's been so long. I remember why Broodlord Infestor was not the most exciting time, as it gives you a lot of time to contemplate how long we're going to sit here and watch Broodlord Infestor. I'll admit, I didn't love it, but I hope it still made your day just a little bit better. And hopefully a rare bit of variety to mix things up. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. If you got the means of motivation, be also check out YouTube. It'd be nice if you could check out YouTube. That's okay. Well, let's wrap this up. See you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.